The stars were quiet that night. In the far corner of the galaxy, a small planet called Valar spun slowly in the dark. The people of Valar, known as the Velari, were peaceful. They had no armies, no warships, only soft music, science, and green fields. But now the fields were black, the skies were silent, and the cities were broken. The Velari had only one hope left. A signal. It was not strong. It was not fast. But it carried a message full of fear. We are dying. Please help us. They didn't know who would hear it. Maybe no one. Maybe too late. But across the galaxy, Earth was listening. 3 weeks later, a flash of white light burned in the skies above Valar. Then another. Then 10 more. The clouds split open. Strange metal giants appeared. Warships massive and dark, covering the stars. The Velari ran into the streets. Their leaders watched the sky with wide eyes. These were not rescue ships. These were machines of war. The biggest ship came down low. A message played in the air. This is Commander Elias of the Earth Defense Fleet. We received your call. We have come, armed. Panic spread through the Velari city. Why are they armed? We asked. For help, not war. Did they misunderstand? But Commander Elias didn't attack. He came down in a silver craft and stood before the Velari leaders. He looked tall, tired, and strong. His voice was calm, but firm. We heard your message, Elias said. And we came fast, but we are not fools. You said your world was dying. We know something made it die. That means danger. So we came ready. The Velari queen, thin and graceful, stepped forward. Her voice was soft. You carry weapons of great fire. We do not wish to fight. Elias nodded. Neither do we. But we protect what we care for. Then, the Velari showed them. They led Elias and his team to the edge of their broken city. From a high hill he saw what the signal had tried to say. Burned forests, dead rivers, black scars on the land, whole towns, gone. No people, just shadows. On walls, Commander Elias narrowed his eyes. This wasn't war, this was something else. A human officer scanned the air with a small drone. It buzzed through the sky, taking samples. Then the drone stopped. Its lights turned red. It dropped to the ground, melted like plastic. Humans froze. Was that a weapon? The officer asked. The Velari queen looked down. We do not know. It came in the night. A black light. It moves fast, it burns everything. It has no face, no voice. Just death. Elias looked at the dark clouds over the horizon. He tapped his comms. Send full scans. Pull back the lower ships. I want eyes on that black zone. Suddenly, a human soldier shouted, Commander, we've picked up movement. Something's out there. A strange shape moved in the dark. Not walking. Not flying. It just slid across the ground like a shadow without making a sound. The scanners couldn't lock onto it. Lasers missed. It disappeared. Elias stood still. So, it's still here. The Velari queen looked scared. You must leave. You will only make it angry. Elias shook his head. We don't run from shadows. The human ships in the sky moved into new positions. Fighters flew low. Lights scanned the land. And deep in space, more Earth warships were jumping in. Heavy cruisers, orbital cannons, and stealth frigates. One Velari elder looked at the sky in fear. You came to help us, but why did you bring an army? Commander Elias watched the black clouds carefully. He didn't answer at first. Then he said something only his second officer heard. Because someone made that thing. And if they're still out there, we're not just here to help. We're here to finish this. The sun never fully rose over Valar anymore. A thick gray cloud covered the sky. It wasn't from weather. It was from fear. Commander Elias stood on the command deck of his ship. staring down at the broken world below. His eyes were sharp, his face still. Behind him, screens showed strange data. Readings didn't make sense. Velar was dying, but not from war, from something worse. "Report," Elias said quietly. His science officer, Dr. Leon, answered. "Commander, we scanned the land again. The black zone is spreading, but there's no heat, no radiation. It's not fire. It's not natural." Elias frowned. "Then what is it?" Dr. Leon hesitated. "It moves like a life form, but it leaves no body. It kills fast. It eats everything." Below, on the planet's surface, the Valari were silent. Their once beautiful cities were now dark, empty shapes. Only one city remained with power. The rest had fallen. Nothing lived there, not animals, not insects. Only shadows. Elias and a small human team landed near the edge of one of those fallen cities. The air felt cold and dry. The wind carried dust. But it wasn't normal dust. It sparkled like black glass. "Be ready," Elias warned. "Don't trust your eyes." They moved carefully through broken streets. Valari statues were melted. Trees were turned to ash. Whole buildings had holes burned straight through them. Then they saw it. A wall with black stains. Shadows of people. Frozen. In place, reaching out, screaming, but no sound. No bodies. One human soldier whispered, "What could do this?" Suddenly the human scanners beeped. Motion. Fast. Not human. Not Valari. The team turned as a dark shape shot between the buildings, too fast to see clearly. It didn't walk. It didn't crawl. It just moved like wind, like smoke, but heavy. Elias raised his weapon. "Hold fire!" But it was already gone. They tried to follow it, but it disappeared again. Then came a low sound. Not a growl. Not a scream. Something worse. A deep hum. Like a machine breathing. "Back to the ship," Elias ordered. "Now." As they ran, the black shape returned, but farther this time. Watching, testing, not attacking, just waiting. Back on the flagship, Elias reviewed the footage. "Still no heat, no sound, no solid body," said Dr. Leon. "It's not a normal enemy." One Valari elder stood in the corner. His eyes were tired. "We call it the black light. It came from the sky. It touched our cities and they died." "Did you see what brought it?" Elias asked. The elder shook his head. "A ship. Maybe. But not like yours. It didn't shine. It ate the light." Dr. Leon pulled up an old Valari map. "These destroyed cities, do they follow a pattern?" The elder nodded. "Yes. It moves in circles, always wider, like it's searching." Elias stepped forward. Searching for what? No one knew. Later that night, high above Valar, a small human drone floated in orbit. It scanned the dark zones and sent data back to the fleet. Suddenly the screen blinked. A signal. Weak, but strange. "What is that?" Elias asked. Dr. Leon stared at the screen. "It's a pulse, a beacon. Something down there is calling out. Not just random signals, it's code." "Human code?" Elias asked. "No, older. But not Valari either." Elias looked at the stars. "So someone else is involved." Then the signal changed. The pulse became a message. But it wasn't words. It was an image. The crew stared. It was a picture, grainy, and flickering, but clear enough. It showed a black ship, small and smooth, shaped like a knife. It had no windows, no engines, just darkness. Floating. Elias's voice went cold. "That's not a ship. It's a weapon." Dr. Leon nodded. "And it's not alone. That's just one of them." Elias turned to the others. "Get every scanner, online, every eye open. That thing's still here, and it's not done." Back on the surface, the Valari queen stood at a temple, staring at the stars. She whispered a prayer in her own language. Behind her, the black dust began to move. Slowly. Softly, like something had started to wake up. The air above Valar was thin and cold. Earth's fleet floated in orbit like silent giants watching the planet below. Every ship was ready, every weapon charged. The humans were not at peace. They were waiting for war. Commander Elias stood on the bridge of his flagship staring at the screen. "Any movement?" he asked. His officer replied, "Nothing yet, sir. The signal is quiet again. No more images. But something's out there. I feel it." Dr. Leon walked in, holding a tablet. I studied the beacon again. It wasn't just a signal, it was a warning. The code repeats every few hours. It says the same thing. "What does it say?" Elias asked. Dr. Leon's eyes were serious. "It says, 'Do not wake them.'" Elias frowned. "Them? Who is them?" Before anyone could answer, an alarm rang. A ship had appeared on the edge of the planet's orbit, black, smooth, and completely silent. No lights, no engine trail. It moved like it was part of space itself. Elias narrowed his eyes. "That's the ship from the image." The black ship did not answer hails. It didn't speak, didn't signal. It just floated. Human fighters moved to intercept. They circled it, scanning and watching. One fighter flew a little too close. Suddenly, a black beam shot out from the unknown ship. It made no sound, but in one blink the human fighter vanished, not exploded, erased. "All units pull back," Elias shouted. "It's hostile." But it was too late. The black ship came to life. Its surface opened up like a flower made of shadow. Thin tendrils of light stretched out and struck at the human line. Another fighter disappeared, then another. "Return fire," Elias ordered. Lasers, missiles, and plasma shots flew at the black ship. It took every hit, but didn't break. Its dark shell absorbed the energy. The more it was hit, the more it changed. Dr. Leon gasped. "It's learning. It's adapting to our weapons." On the surface, the Valari felt the sky shake. Thunder rolled, but no storm came. Just the sound of battle. The Valari Queen stood in her garden, watching the sky burn with silent lights. "They should not have fired," she whispered. A child beside her asked, "Will the humans win?" The Queen's eyes were full of sadness. "No, not yet." Back in orbit, the black ship changed shape. It grew arms, long and sharp, like blades. It moved faster now, like a hunter. Human ships dodged and fired, but one of the smaller cruisers was caught. The black ship wrapped around it, and the human ship shattered into pieces in seconds. Elias slammed his fist on the console. "We need more power. Fire the railguns." The flagship's heavy guns opened fire. This time the black ship was pushed back. A piece of it broke off and spun into space. "Direct hit," someone shouted. But then, something worse happened. The broken piece of the black ship began to move on its own. It glowed, shifted, and started to rebuild. Dr. Leon stared in horror. "It's alive. Or something like alive. It doesn't die. It splits." Elias stood frozen for a moment. Then he said quietly, "We're not fighting a ship. We're fighting a species." Suddenly, the black ship stopped moving. It pulled back, folding in on itself. Then it vanished, just disappeared into space. "What just happened?" an officer asked. Elias didn't answer. He looked at Dr. Leon. Did it run, or did it get what it wanted? Later, on the surface, human soldiers searched the crash site where a small part of the black ship had fallen. It was still moving, slowly, softly. A small black object pulsed like a heartbeat. A young soldier touched it. He screamed. His suit turned black. His body stiffened. His eyes glowed, just for a second, and then he dropped. Dead. The team pulled back in panic. The object melted into the ground and vanished. Back at the ship, Dr. Leon examined the footage. This thing doesn't just kill, it infects. If it spreads, it could take the whole planet. Elias gave one quiet order. Seal off that zone. No one enters. No one touches anything. That night, in orbit, Elias stared out the window. Stars twinkled peacefully. But he knew peace was a lie. He whispered to himself, "We came to help, but this is no rescue. This is the start of a war." The planet Valar was quiet again. Too quiet. The black ship was gone. The skies were still. No more attacks. But Commander, Elias knew something was wrong. Enemies that run usually come back stronger, and this one we didn't feel like it was running. It felt like it was spreading. Down on the surface, near the crash zone, human soldiers stood guard in white hazmat suits. The air was thick with smoke. The ground was black and hard like stone, even though nothing had burned. Dr. Leon stepped out of her lab tent. Her face was pale. "We scanned the black soil," she said. "It's alive." Commander Elias frowned. "Alive?" "Yes. It moves under the surface. It spreads like roots, like it's looking for something." Elias looked toward the black zone. It had doubled in size overnight, and it was still growing. "Then we kill it," Elias said. But Dr. Leon shook her head. "No, it's not that simple. We tried fire, ice, plasma, even nukes. Nothing slows it down. In fact, some attacks made it grow faster." Elias stayed silent for a long moment. Then he gave an order. "Evacuate all civilians. Set up a red zone. No one enters." Meanwhile, the Valari were afraid. They had hoped the humans would save them, but now even the humans were pulling back. Soldiers were leaving towns. Ships were rising back into the sky. People whispered in the streets, "Are they giving up? Did they make it worse? Are we next?" The Valari queen called for a meeting with Elias. She stood before him, tall and sad. "You have great weapons," she said, "but this enemy doesn't fear your fire." Elias nodded. "That's true." "Then what will you do?" she asked. "We find out what it wants, before it finds us." Back on the ship, Dr. Leon made a discovery. She was reviewing old Valari data, hundreds of years old. "Look at this," she told Elias. "There are stories of the sky dark, a time when something fell from the stars. The Valari built temples around it, thought it was a gift." Elias raised an eyebrow. "A gift?" "Yes, it gave them clean energy for many years, but then it started to change. They buried it, covered it, lied about it. And now it's awake again," Elias said. Dr. Leon nodded. "They never destroyed it. They just forgot it." Elias stood up and turned to his crew. "Prepare a deep ground scan. I want to see under this planet." Hours later, the scans came back, and what they saw shook them all. Beneath Valar's surface, far deeper than anyone had looked, was a massive structure, bigger than any human city. Black, smooth, and pulsing slowly, a sleeping machine, a seed, a hive, a factory of death, and it was waking up. Elias stared at the image. "This isn't a weapon that landed here," he said slowly. "This planet was built on top of it." Suddenly alarms rang across the ship. "Commander, we've got movement underground. Something is coming up from below." Elias rushed to the window. The ground in the black zone had split open. Huge cracks spread like spider webs. Black towers rose from the dirt, tall and sharp. Creatures began to crawl out, shadow-like, glowing faintly. They didn't walk. They floated, twisted, screamed without mouths. Dozens of them, then hundreds. "Get the troops out," Elias shouted. "Fall back to high ground." On the surface, human soldiers fired everything they had. But the shadow creatures were fast. Bullets passed through them. Lasers burned holes that healed in seconds. One soldier screamed as a shadow touched him. He froze, turned to dust, and vanished. The black zone was no longer just a place. It was becoming an army. In orbit, human ships moved to attack. They fired missiles and plasma beams. The towers were hit, but not destroyed. Instead, they turned and fired back, strange black energy that bent space and tore through shields. A human ship was hit. It didn't explode. It simply disappeared, gone without a sound. Elias watched the battle. His voice was cold. "This is not just an infection," he said. "It's a signal. That hive below is calling for more. far across the galaxy, deep in unknown space. Something blinked awake, a black star, a dark gate, and more ships like the first, waiting, turning, hearing the call that began when Valar screamed for help. And now, help had brought war. The ground trembled on Valar. The black towers had risen. The sky was dark. The planet no longer felt like a world. It felt like a warning. Commander Elias stood in his command room, staring at the underground scan. A giant black structure lay beneath Valar's surface. It pulsed like a heart, a dark heart. Dr. Leon stood beside him. Her voice was shaking. "It's not just a ship," she said. "It's not even just a base." Elias turned. "Then what is it?" She looked up. "It's a hive, a living one." A team of human soldiers was preparing to go in. They were the best, armored, armed, and trained for deep insertion missions. Their goal was clear: enter the hive and find out how to stop it. Elias met them before launch. "Don't try to fight everything," he told them. "You won't win that way. Watch, learn, and get out alive. That's your mission." The team nodded. Their dropship flew low, dodging the black towers. As they neared the entry point, the land below cracked open. The ship dropped into the darkness. It was silent inside the hive. No lights, no sound. The walls were smooth and black, like melted glass. The deeper the team went, the warmer it got. A soft hum filled the air, not from machines, but from the walls themselves, like the whole place was breathing. Sergeant Keller, the team leader, clicked on his helmet light. Eyes sharp, weapons ready. They walked for what felt like hours. Then they saw the first one, a creature tall and thin hanging from the wall. It wasn't dead, but it didn't move. Its skin looked like metal. Its eyes glowed faint blue. "Don't touch it," Keller warned. But one soldier moved closer. The creature opened its eyes. Too late. It screamed, a sharp electric sound that hit every mind like a knife. Soldiers dropped, grabbing their heads. Then the walls lit up. Lines of blue light pulsed down the hallway. Doors opened, and shadows came out. Back on the ship, Elias watched the live feed. Movement detected. Hostile response, Dr. Leon said quickly. Elias clenched his fists. They woke up the hive. Inside the tunnels, the human team fought to survive. Shadow creatures came from every side, crawling from ceilings, walls, even the floor. They didn't bleed. They didn't fall. Bullets slowed them. Plasma hurt them. But nothing killed them. For long. "Fall back," Keller shouted, but one soldier was grabbed. His body shook. His scream echoed through the radio. Then silence. Only his helmet light remained, rolling across the floor. The team ran deeper, not by choice, but because the path behind them collapsed. Now they were trapped in the hive. Hours passed. Only 4 soldiers were left. They found a chamber, huge and round. In the center was a glowing orb floating above a pit. It wasn't metal. It looked like a brain. Keller stared. "Is this the hive mind?" Dr. Leon's voice crackled over the radio. "Don't touch it. It's connected to everything. That's the control core." Suddenly the orb changed. It began showing images. Earth, human ships, faces, maps, weapons. "It's learning," said one soldier. "It's downloading us." Keller raised his gun. "Then we destroy it." He fired. The shot hit the orb. The hive screamed. All lights went red. The floor split open. The team fell into darkness. Back on the surface, Dr. Leon gasped. "The hive is reacting, fast. It's sending signals, not just here, out into space." Elias stared. "It's calling for help." "Not help," she whispered. "Reinforcements." In deep space, thousands of black ships began to move. They turned and they began to fly. Not through space like normal ships, but through rips in space itself. Shortcuts, wormholes, and they were heading for Valar. Back underground, Keller woke, up in a strange place. A round room. Quiet. Cold. One soldier was alive beside him. The walls were covered in symbols, burning red. Not Valari, not human, something older. In the center, a giant figure sat, 10 feet tall, armor of black bone, eyes like dying stars. It looked at them, and it spoke, not in sound, but directly into their minds. You are not the first. You will not be the last. This world was claimed before your kind was born. Keller tried to move, but he was frozen. The voice spoke again. You woke us. Now we rise. The human fleet above Valar received one final message, a simple line, from deep within the planet. The hive is awake. War has begun. The skies above Valar burned red. From orbit, the human fleet watched as black ships fell from space. Hundreds of them. They came through rips in the sky, through wormholes like dark rain from another universe. They made no sound. They brought no message. Only war. Commander Elias stood on the bridge of the Resolute, his face hard. How many? He asked. The officer, replied, voice shaking. We count 312 enemy ships, and more are still coming. Dr. Leon whispered, This is not a battle anymore. It's an invasion. Elias turned to his crew. Prepare for full planetary defense. No retreat. On Valar's surface, the Black Zone had spread across mountains and rivers. It devoured forests, drank lakes, and silenced towns. Nothing escaped. Human soldiers stood at the edge of the Red Zone, tired, outnumbered, but not broken. Among them, the Valari people had joined the defense. Old warriors in silver armor stood beside human marines. The Valari queen stood on the hilltop, looking toward the growing black storm. My world is dying, she said softly, but we will not let it die alone. In space, the human ships formed a shield above the planet. Fighter wings launched into battle, missiles fired, and space lit up like a burning starfield. The first wave of black ships hit the line, and kept coming. They didn't dodge, they didn't care, they just pushed forward like a tidal wave. One human ship was torn in half. Another was swallowed by a black hole created by the enemy. Dozens fell, but still they fought. We're holding the upper line, Elias said. Barely. Then a message came in. A voice. Not human. Not Valari. It echoed through every channel. You were warned. You did not listen. Now, you will join the silence. Deep below the surface, Sergeant Keller and the last of his team were still trapped inside the hive. The giant creature, the speaker of the hive, watched them unmoving. Keller's hand bled. His suit was torn, but his will was strong. What are you? He asked. The voice entered his mind. We are the old hunger. We sleep between stars. When called, we come. You woke us. Keller spit blood. We came to help a world. Then you shall die with it. Suddenly the chamber cracked open. The hive had grown wings, giant spikes that now reached the sky. And from deep inside, a second signal was sent. Dr. Leon caught it on her screen. She gasped. It's not calling more ships. It's calling a world eater. The sensors lit. Up from far space, something large began to move. Too big to be a ship. Too slow to be a missile. A black shape. Planet-sized. Elias stared. Is that a moon? No, sir, said the science officer, pale with fear. That's a creature. A living one. On Valar, darkness fell early. The sun was still up, but the black sky covered its light. Towers of the hive opened like mouths. From them, clouds of spores filled the air. People who breathed them fell. Some rose again, changed. Their eyes glowed. Blue. Their minds were gone. Hold the line, the soldiers shouted. But the line was breaking. The Valari queen led a final charge. She rode a silver beast into the heart of the Black Zone. Her warriors followed. She raised her blade high. For Valar! The sky answered with fire. A black ship struck the hilltop. The queen vanished in the blast. Her warriors burned with her. Valar wept. Commander Elias watched the ground battles with tight fists. We can't hold them, Dr. Leon said. If that world eater reaches Valar, the planet is finished. Elias looked around the bridge. Every officer watched him. He gave a quiet order, initiate Operation Last Light. Everyone froze. Sir? Someone asked. Elias repeated, evacuate as many civilians as you can, then prepare the Nova Corps. Nova Corps was Earth's last weapon, a doomsday bomb built into the heart of the Resolute. It could destroy a planet, or everything on it. Are we blowing up Valar? Dr. Leon asked. No, Elias said. We're blowing up the hive, even if it costs us all. As human ships fell back, the Resolute moved into position above the hive towers. Keller's last message came through. He and one other soldier had reached the control core. It's growing fast, Keller said. You have to end it now. Good work, Sergeant, Elias said quietly. No medals, sir, Keller replied. Just make it count. The Nova Corps was armed. A timer began to count down. 3, 2.59, 2:58. As the Resolute began its descent, black ships chased it. Human fighters flew in one final wave to block them. They crashed into enemy ships one by one, sacrificing everything. The countdown ticked down. The last image on screen was Keller standing inside the hive holding a grenade, nodding once. And then, light. Brighter than the sun. The Resolute vanished. The hive screamed. The towers shattered. And the world of Valar was covered in white. When the light faded. Silence. Then the black sky cracked, and the World Eater paused. It had no mind, only instinct, but it felt something now. Danger. The call had gone dark, and so it turned away and drifted back into the stars. Valar was broken. Burned, but it was not dead, not yet. The world of Valar was silent. The skies were gray. The ground was cracked. Smoke rose in slow spirals across burned forests and shattered cities. The once beautiful planet looked like a ghost. But it was still there. Alive. A small group of human ships remained in orbit. Most of the fleet had been destroyed during the attack or left to carry refugees to safety. Commander Elias was gone. The Resolute was gone. But the mission was not over. Captain Mira Thorne now led the remaining forces. She stood in the war room staring at the map of Valar. The hive is gone, she said. But something doesn't feel right. Dr. Leon, standing nearby, nodded. Her face was tired. The black zone stopped growing. But the energy readings are still not strange. Strange how? Mira asked. Dr. Leon looked at the screen. Like a whisper. Faint. Deep underground. On the surface, a small team of scouts searched through what remained of the hive crater. Everything was ash and melted stone. Sergeant Rios, the new ground leader, moved carefully. He didn't trust quiet places, not after what they'd seen. Then, he stopped. Something glowed under the dust, a blue shard, small, smooth, pulsing softly. He picked it up. What is it? One of the scouts asked. I don't know, Rios said, but it's still alive. Back in orbit, Mira studied the shard. It pulsed when near humans, faster near children. It's like it senses life, Dr. Leon said. And it remembers things. Memories? Mira asked. Yes. Watch. She placed the shard on a reader. The room flickered. Suddenly, images appeared, flashes from the hive. Keller's last stand, the Queen's final charge, the fall of Valar, all from the hive's point of view. It was recording everything, Mira whispered. Dr. Leon nodded. And I think it's just one piece of something larger. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, in a quiet dead system, something stirred. A black ship drifted slowly toward a forgotten moon. It landed without lights. No engines burned. It moved like a shadow in space. Inside the ship, strange blue lights blinked in rhythm. And in the center, a second shard pulsed, to life. The hive was not dead, only sleeping again. Back on Valar, survivors began to rebuild. The Valari people mourned their queen but honored her sacrifice. Human engineers helped rebuild cities and clear dead zones. But not everything could be fixed. Children had strange dreams. Some saw blue lights in their sleep. Some drew pictures of the Black Towers, even though they had never seen them. A whisper remained in the air. A feeling, like something was still watching. One night, a young Valari girl named Eska wandered into the old battlefield. She felt drawn by something. In the dust, she found another shard, smaller, cracked. When she touched it, her eyes glowed faint blue. She didn't scream. She didn't run. She smiled. "They're not gone," she said softly. "They're just quiet now." Captain Mira and Dr. Leon visited the girl. "She's fine," the medic said. "Healthy, strong, but different. She speaks of things no child should know," Dr. Leon whispered. "She says the hive is dreaming." Mira stared out of the ship's window that night. She thought of Elias, of Keller, of all the soldiers who gave everything. Did they win? Or just slow it down? Dr. Leon entered quietly. "I think the hive left seeds behind," she said. "Pieces of itself, hidden in minds, in metal, in memories." Mira nodded. "Then we find them," she said. "Before they grow again." In a hidden lab, scientists placed the shard in a stasis box, but as the room emptied, the shard pulsed once, and in the quiet, it whispered, "You broke the silence, but silence always returns." Somewhere deep in space, the World Eater moved, again, not toward Valar, not yet, but it was listening, waiting. For the next signal, Valar was quiet. The skies had cleared. The air was clean again. Cities were rising slowly from the rubble. Humans and Valari worked side by side to rebuild, but Captain Mira Thorne knew peace never lasted long, not in a galaxy like this. She stood on the command deck of the Aegis, Earth's newest ship in orbit above Valar. Dr. Leon entered holding a report. "It's happening," she said. "The shards are waking up. Over the past weeks, more blue shards had been found, buried in soil, hidden in broken machines, even deep inside people's dreams. Each shard carried part of the hive's memory. Together, they were like a broken mind trying to pull itself back. Together. But now, the pieces were calling to each other. A signal had begun. Faint, but growing. Far across the galaxy, in a quiet star system, the World Eater stirred again. The signal had reached it. Slowly, the massive creature turned toward the stars. Not in anger, not in hunger, but with purpose. Back on Valar, a scientist dropped a shard. It didn't fall. It floated in the air and began to spin. Lights filled the lab. Blue lines danced across the walls. Then, a message appeared. Not in sound, not in words, in images. Everyone in the room saw it. A massive star map, a location, a voice inside their minds. "Come, one last time, speak or fight." Captain Mira called for a full meeting of Earth's leaders, Valari elders, and top scientists. "Think it wants to talk?" Dr. Leon said. "Or trick us," a general replied. "This could be another trap." "We destroyed its hive," Mira said. "But maybe that wasn't victory. Maybe that was just noise." A long silence followed. Then, Mira stood. "I'll go." A peace ship was prepared. No weapons, just minds. Mira, Dr. Leon, and a team of diplomats and scientists boarded the ship. A Valari elder joined them. His name was Theros, last of the Queen's Council. They followed the coordinates. The journey took days. Finally, they arrived and saw it. The World Eater, bigger than a moon. Its surface moved like skin. Its eyes, if they were eyes, burned like dying stars. And it was waiting. The ship floated near the beast. Then a light surrounded them. And suddenly, they were no longer on the ship. They stood in a massive black space. No walls, no sky. In front of them, a giant figure made of smoke and light. It looked like the speaker of the hive, but older, deeper. It spoke. You broke the silence. You came with fire. Now you come with questions. Mira stepped forward. We came because you kept taking. You destroyed worlds. The voice echoed. We consume silence. Noise is pain. Your kind is loud. Dr. Leon stepped forward. Then why call us here? To choose. Everyone held their breath. We were once like you. Many voices. Many hearts. Then we fell. Became one mind. The hive, you broke us again. Now, we offer peace. If you take our memory. Mira frowned. What does that mean? We give you the last shard. All knowledge. All truth. But if you take it, you carry us forever. A floating shard appeared, glowing with power, alive, with history. Mira looked at it. What happens if we refuse, she asked. The voice grew cold. Then we sleep again, and wake when stars fall, and hunger returns. Silence. Dr. Leon whispered, this could stop another war. Theros nodded. Knowledge is danger, but also light. Mira reached out. The shard floated to her. She took it. Pain filled her head, and then everything. She saw the hive's birth, a galaxy full of light, a civilization that burned itself to ash, a choice to survive through silence by devouring sound, life, and thought. And now, she saw both sides. The vision ended. Mira fell to her knees, shaking, but she lived, and the shard was now quiet. The figure faded. The voice said one last time, the silence is yours now. Use it well. Back on Valar, the stars looked brighter. The World Eater turned and vanished into the deep. Mira returned, changed but calm. She carried the final shard in a case made of silver and glass. Earth and Valar declared a new alliance, the Pact of Memory. The shard would not be hidden. It would be studied, shared, and watched because now humanity understood the truth. Some wars are not won by weapons, some are won by listening. Final scene. Years later, a child visited a museum. She looked up at the silver case. Inside, the shard pulsed softly. She touched the glass. A whisper filled her mind. Hello? She smiled, and the cycle began again.